Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman here, as always, with Tom Orr. Tom, how's it going?
Yes, here we are, as always, sitting in our respective homes, recording a podcast, just as we always do. Yeah, I'm just going to break kayfabe here.
Yep.
It is hotel check-in day. We're knocking out a couple shows while we are waiting for hotel check-in day to start. The weirdest and stupidest day on the Ohio State football calendar. Can't wait.
Yes. If there was an advent calendar for football, this would definitely be on there. And you'd open a little thing, and it would just be like, I don't know, a little camera.
A T-shirt of you. Right. A T-shirt with a picture of you on it, yeah.
A T-shirt of an advent calendar. So, yeah, we are here. But before all of that happens, and actually, as you're watching this, since that has all happened, we do want to discuss, we've previously talked about 3 unanswered questions for the Ohio State offense after the first week of camp. Now let's talk about defense. And Tom, I want to start with the defensive line. And really the question I have here is, who is the next guy in after Beau, Atkinson, and Kenyatta Jackson? And this is under the assumption that Beau Atkinson is number 2, which is an assumption, but we've seen him with the ones throughout, and we've seen other people with the ones. That's just how it is. But who is the third guy? Who's the fourth guy? I think 5 guys are going to play. And I think my question is, like, who is that next guy in, and do they know who that is yet?
Yeah, I don't know that they know with great certainty who that's going to be. You get the sense that you kind of have the veteran guys who are Kenyatta Jackson and Beau Atkinson, and they have been, as you said, working with the ones for the most part when we've been in there. After them, you sort of, I have the tier here where it is the second-year guys, and it's Grady, it's Epi Sitanilei. You figure those guys are probably, right now, the guys who you would assume are like 3 and 4,
Qua
probably.
Russaw?
Where does Qua Russaw fit into this conversation is kind of the next, he's the next spot, because it's like, well, he's in that conversation, but do they feel like he's a 4-down guy, or is he someone who's coming in situationally as a pass rush specialist? Yeah. Like
the next guy in depends on down and distance.
Right, yeah. Or is he a 4-down guy? We don't know that yet. And you know, I have said over and over again, I think they're going to get a lot out of Qua Russaw this year, but I just don't know exactly when that's going to happen.
Yeah, and at least like for his benefit, he's new, but he's competing against 2 second-year guys. He's a 4th-year guy. He's got that kind of an advantage, but those 2 second-year guys have played more defensive end than he has. He's played some outside linebacker at Alabama, some edge. He's played some inside linebacker as well, kind of like what Arvell Reese did and what Christian Alliegro have done in different styles, but he's never been a full-time defensive end, maybe since high school, if he did it in high school. And so that's why Grady and Epi Sitanilei have that advantage. Plus, they're bigger than he is. They have that advantage as well. But ideally, you want all 5 of those guys to be able to go out there at any point. And that's really what the focus is going to be. And I think back to last year's Texas game when you saw Beau Atkinson out there, you saw C.J. Hicks out there, you saw them playing, guys that they thought were going to play that didn't end up playing. I think they're deeper this year. I'd like to know, well, we will find out eventually. I wonder if they know how soon they'll know what the pecking order is.
Well, and that's the real question, because you go back to the last year and you figure, okay, you're coming out of fall camp. Texas is the first game. You're really going to have stuff buttoned down, and you're going to know these are your guys coming out of fall camp. And then starting running back, James Peoples, Beau Jackson, 0 carries. And as you said, you saw C.J. Hicks, you saw a bunch of Beau Atkinson, and then later in the year it was like, nope, they were incorrect about where guys were on the pecking order there. And, some of that is going to be guys are going to come along at different rates and all that kind of stuff. So it's not like this is a huge evaluation failure, but it's just, there's a lot, we may not be the only ones with some uncertainty on this front right now.
Right. It's not us getting it wrong. It's the coaches. Great point. The next unanswered question, which is they're trying to find answers, and they're getting the opportunities to do so, is where is Riley Pettijohn in this defense? We've seen him at Sam, we've seen him at Will, we've now seen him at Mike, and he's getting to do all of these different things, have to find out what he does best. I think he's more of an inside guy because they have Christian Alliegro to do that outside stuff as the edge if they want to. They brought him in to be an inside linebacker, and he's like your prototypical inside linebacker size and tenacity, but it's going to be interesting to see because he did not have a spring football.
Right.
How much ground he is able to gain. And at this point, if at some point he is even with anybody he's competing against after just, however many practices, if it happens, he's leaving, right? Like if once he's reached somebody else, don't you have to just let him he's that guy now?
Probably. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those guys where you talk to people who are on the program, they're very high on him.
Mm-hmm.
You watch how they're using him, they're very clearly high on him. They're also high on Payton Pierce. They're also high on Christian Alliegro. I think they like T.J. Alford a lot. I mean, they have, and you can even go down through some of the other guys, Garrett Stover, we've seen some good stuff from. Eli Lee, we've seen some good stuff from. Sincere Johnson, he's just a true freshman. They like him a lot too. I mean, this is a loaded linebacker room, and you've got all new personnel in that room, but you're also, the role of the linebacker is sort of changing in football right now as you're kind of getting away from the spread. I talked to Michael Pettit about this on one of the recent morning shows where it's kind of, okay, the spread offense is sort of going away. So now you're starting to go away from the 4-2-5 and back to maybe a little bit more of a traditional 4-3. So now not only the people who are at the linebacker position are changing, but the number of linebackers on the field and the roles of the linebackers. And it's not just, okay, it's 4-3 and you've got your three linebackers. And Christian Alliegro is potentially, he could be a little bit more of a on the ball, on the line of scrimmage kind of linebacker, or you could put him in space. Riley Pettijohn, we saw him at Sam, we saw him at Will. He will, I think they're still kind of trying to figure out how all these different pieces and parts fit together as well, because you've got Payton Pierce. I think they know what they've got there. I think Payton Pierce is your starting Mike. I'm expecting Christian Alliegro to play a substantial role this year. We just haven't seen Christian Alliegro and Riley Pettijohn on the field really together because Pettijohn wasn't there for the spring. Where does T.J. Alford fit into all of this? There's just a lot of questions. I think they have a winning combination of pieces there. They just got to figure out how all the pieces fit together.
Yeah, and exactly. Figuring out exactly what Riley Pettijohn is best at, what he's comfortable with, what he likes to do, what he's effective at doing. And we know when they run their 4-2-5, there's room for a third linebacker the past few years. If they're running some 4-3, is there room for a fourth linebacker in there? Because we're talking about four linebackers. And I think that's another question that I have is, can they have, at this point, can T.J. Alford and Riley Pettijohn both play? Because I'm of the opinion, and you think you are as well, that Christian Alliegro is playing.
Yeah.
So it's, can they get those two sophomores in there as well? And while we're talking about the linebackers, this also takes us to nickel, where there is a question of how much the nickel is going to play, because as Ross Fulton keeps saying on the Buckeye Insider's message board, nickel, with as much 12 personnel as offenses are playing now, you're seeing more three linebackers. You saw Indiana play three linebackers a lot last year, and it worked for them. You only need to go to a nickel when you're at basically a disadvantage with receivers. And so the idea that Ohio State could be starting a true freshman at nickel and Jay Timmons shouldn't be as concerning, but it's still, we've been talking about it a lot. If he is the nickel, one, that says amazing things about him. Two, I do wonder how much he's going to play. I had somebody ask me on the message board talking about, compare him to Devin Sanchez in terms of last year as freshmen, how ready are they? And it's like, well, Jay Timmons is running with the ones. So that's prepared. Now, will he play the 300 and some odd snaps that Devin Sanchez played last year? I don't know, because how many snaps is the nickel going to be out there for?
Right. And this is, we're asking about how many snaps the nickel's going to be out there for. I can tell you one team that they're going to play early in the season where you probably are going to play someone at nickel a lot, and that is the Texas Longhorns. We're going to have three wide receivers out there. And if you're facing three wide receivers, if you're facing 11 personnel, you're going to bleed nickel quite a bit. And so that is going to be Jay Timmons kind of getting thrown in there on the road in a challenging situation pretty early. I think Devin Sanchez last year was the dime. I think however much you're seeing the nickel this year, you're going to see more nickel than you saw dime last year. So yeah. I would certainly expect to see more Jay Timmons than Devin Sanchez last year. You last year had Davis Igbinosun and
Sanchez
Jermaine
also
Matthews.
Got 2 starts because of injuries.
Right, yeah. But, I think you're going to see, I think this is probably a comparable corner unit to what it was last year. I'm very, very high on Devin Sanchez. So I don't think there's going to be much of a drop-off at all from Davis Igbinosun to Devin Sanchez. So this is not like he's getting just sort of thrown in there because, well, they don't have anyone else to play corner. This is someone who was at the nickel spot in the spring, and they have another guy. If they wanted to, they could play Earl Little at nickel and keep Terry Moore at that deep safety spot. They feel that this is the best combination of guys. So that tells me they're seeing what they need to see out of Jay Timmons.
Yeah, and that's why one of the questions, unanswered questions, I think has maybe been answered, and that's about the safeties. Mm-hmm. Because we have not seen, and granted, we only saw the first week, not seen 3 safeties together, really. And, you go into spring and you go into fall camp thinking Earl Little, Terry Moore, and Jalen McClain are going to coexist, which would suit the 12 personnel type of thing because, you're not asking one of those guys to defend a receiver all of that time because they'll be just defending a tight end instead. But it's like, well, or you could just go with the 3 linebackers. And really, that's why I keep wondering if there are other factors rather than just Terry Moore. Like, it's kind of like who's better, is it better to have Josh Padilla at right guard or, that thing where there's other factors rather than just one guy. You're weighing certain things. And that's why, just the idea that they're going to have a true freshman nickel out there is interesting, and we'll see. Like we said before, we'll see if he hits the wall at any point and can then get through it. But they also have Jermaine Matthews that can do it as well, provided Dominic Kelly is where they need him. But I think they like having the option of those 3 corners staying outside, and so then Jay Timmons becomes not just a luxury in that regard, but somebody that has been making plays. And shoot, if you get 3 or 4 years out of that guy, or 5, first 5-year starter in school history.
I can't imagine there's going to be that much overlap between true freshman good enough to start day one and the guy who's going to be at Ohio State for 5 years. But a lot of unprecedented stuff has happened in college football history, so I've learned to never say never.
So those are some of the unanswered questions that we will start to get answers for eventually. We will talk with Matt Patricia coming up and Arthur Smith coming up. So we'll see what those guys have to say about the team overall and some other aspects of it. If you are watching, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. If you're listening, a 5-star rating and review is always appreciated. If you're listening, you can find us, if you want to watch us, you can find us at youtube.com/@BuckeyeInsiders. If you want to hang out with us all the time, 24/7, you can do that with us at BuckeyeInsiders.com. Sign up, become a member. We'd love to see you there. Got a bunch of stuff, active stuff going on over on the message boards, talking about camp, talking about what we're hearing, closed practices, X's and O's, all kinds of stuff. So we'd love to see you guys over there. That will do it from here. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will talk to you guys later.